Hello, my name is Leslie Jean-Pierre and welcome to Little Black Village. Our guest today is Wallker Tisdale from healthyblackmen.org. Wallker's also expertise is in social work. Welcome, Wallker.
Thank you, Leslie. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Well, you know what? I'm going to start with an article I just read recently. It says something about, I had actually, it was a question. Should the Washington people in Congress, or just Washington in general, focus more on education or jobs? Which one should they focus on first? And as a social worker, what's your take on this?
You know, my first take on it is that really it's a false choice to say should it be focused on education or jobs in terms of health, because you need them both, right? We need a healthy workforce. We need an informed workforce. And in America today, the days where you could support a family on a high school education are gone. No, they're just gone. And so for a workforce that President Obama has said he wants to win the future and to be competitive with the world, we need people who are going to not only complete high school, but to go to post-secondary education. Even though if school is not the best, higher education is not something that everyone wants to do, it's very important to learn a skill or a trade or to be able to have a valuable, marketable set of skills so that you can be competitive. I always say to a lot of my colleagues and friends that the video game Grand Theft Auto is very popular in the United States. And so while somebody here is playing Grand Theft Auto, there is some 10-year-old Asian boy or girl who is writing the computer code for that game. And so we need to really invest in our young people and to encourage them that they need marketable skills, and education is the way to get that. But also, there's a lot of things that they can do to stay healthy, to be competitive, and as President Obama will say, win the future.
And some very good points. And on the below the article, there was a lot of comments, and people got into a big discussion on, well, they think that Congress or Washington has dropped the ball on education, and they need to focus on that first, and then the job issues. Now, I have no quorum on the jobs, but one issue, and I wanted to see your take on that, is that education, doesn't it actually start, wouldn't you say, it start at the home? I mean, don't education, shouldn't the individuals, the family, the communities, and the actually local states be more responsible for that? And as a social worker, I assume you've gone to many homes and seen the effects of a lack of education and so on. And so how do you, I mean, what's your take on that?
Well, you know, my perspective on this is pretty unique because I worked as a social worker in foster care for a number of years in Chicago as well as in the state of Georgia. And one of the things that I observed is that if the family doesn't place value in education, the young person won't either. And so personal responsibility starts in the home. There's no doubt about it. Because if the family doesn't support and place a high value on little Jimmy or little Jane getting a good education, then little Jimmy or Jane won't find their way to school, they won't complete homework, they'll cause trouble in school, and that's what you see a lot in some of the urban areas, as well as some of the suburban areas. But a lot of our young minority kids are just not getting the education that we want them to get. One, because there just hasn't been the value placed on it in the home, and so they don't place value on it. You know, it's kind of like you emulate, your parents are your first role models, and so if that's the role model that you have, then that's what you have to work against.
So, just by your observation, because we've seen what the comments we've seen the comments that have been made on these articles about education versus jobs and so on. But from your observation, what would you say those families in need are priorities? Health, education, or jobs? Or is it all rolled up in one?
Well, it is, again, they're all needed, and they're all needed at the same time. We talk about the unemployment rate in the country nationally is 9.1%, but for the African American community it's closer to 16%, and that's unacceptable. And so, again, you need a healthy workforce in order to consistently work and to bring home earnings to support the family. But in order to be competitive for a lot of jobs today, even service-oriented positions, you have to have a certain level of education. Even to be the housekeeper at a local hotel, you need a high school diploma. So even to wipe someone's toilet, clean someone's toilet, and to make the bed, you need a high school diploma. So you really need to focus on them all. And I think you don't have to make the choice about focusing on your health for a job, and we shouldn't expect Washington to do so either.
Well, thank you. You know, I didn't want to keep this segment too long, so I want to ask you, would you come back again to visit us and continue this conversation?
Sure.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Well, although Wallker and I will be continuing this conversation later, I'd like to hear your comments about it. What do you think? Should we rely on Washington to save us for the education, or should we take responsibility on education from starting at home? Our parents, our kids, the community, the local government. Should we focus on that? Give me your point of view. Please comment and let us know. Continue the conversation online. And also subscribe to my page so you can be updated every time we have another discussion. Until then, have a great day, and thank you again for visiting Little Black Village.